Welcome to On The Chain with Jeff and Chip.
I wonder about this whole blockchain thing. Well, let's talk about blockchain and government. Can you imagine that if we started tracking payment of dispersed funds on the blockchain, so it was truly universal? Because this stuff gets, the stuff we have in Ukraine and all this other stuff, all of these other things are to fill people's pockets. Let's be honest. I don't care what name you slap on it. I don't care what party, what government. This is all enriching somebody's pockets. Somebody gets rich and loaded off it, but we don't know where the payment once it's right. Blockchain is. Do you guys feel that blockchain would be huge for the government structure? Eddie, what do you think?
The transparency, right?
Transparency.
The transparency would be wonderful, especially for these governments who are really, really corrupt. I think everybody's corrupt in government, but there are some that are more corrupt than others. I think that's good, but still, I have to tell you, the tracking when it comes down to the private citizen and what they're spending and how they're spending, I am really uncomfortable with that. So I wish there was some balance where we could just track government, but allow the private citizens to still be able to access cash. Because I think if we truly go to a cashless society, it's beyond your facial recognition software. It is completely invasive. And so I have, mixed feelings about tracking everything.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the government grants themselves an exemption like they do for everything else. So privacy for us, public transactions for all you, at least as far as we're concerned. If we, want to have a guy in a muumuu sign a piece of paper that says we can see all your transactions, then there you go. There's a chance that it might curtail some of the corruption and stuff. It just depends. If they can find a way around it, they will. If they can, they already are. It's kind of an apt saying, I think, for government. So who knows? I 50-50. Even if it was put on blockchain, they would either find a way to work around it or, grant themselves some kind of exemption or who knows what.
Yeah. Well, I guess I want to say one thing that we're seeing blockchain really helping in terms of transparency for businesses, whether it's food or it's genuine product. I really am happy to see that Sunny in VeChain is doing the work that he's doing, even though they had a little breach of security within their ecosystem. I don't think that has anything to do with the promising aspects of blockchain when you take it into the supply chains. I'm really, really positive for that particular business model. But maybe Sam's right. Maybe because those are elected officials for the most part. Most countries are still, not everybody is 100% democratized. But for those people who are put in that position based on a vote, maybe they should be forced to adhere to blockchain, and that the private citizen can still have some exemptions. Maybe that is, maybe I can vote for that.
And that's an ideal scenario. You think about everything, especially you take a country like the U.S., a country like Japan. You go into certain European countries, to where you want to put the power back into the hands of the people. It's going to be a little bit different everywhere, but putting it on the blockchain, voting on the blockchain, the voting roles on the blockchain allows you to instantaneously, remove people from the blockchain, make sure there aren't duplication on the blockchain. So the question is, it's good for the people, but what's the appetite at the government level to make sure that there is full transparency and accuracy, from a voting perspective, a financial perspective, and also from an activity perspective, to then allow this transparency of every movement that they make, which is only right because there are employees, we elect them to go and do a job, but what's the appetite within government of making that happen? So that's
zero.
A question.
Right there. There you go, Jeff. Boom.
Well,
Zero.
I think these are good questions in the near term, but I think in the long term, it's kind of a moot point because private, or I guess trustless, decentralized, censorship-resistant, borderless cryptocurrency represents the beginning of the end for fiat, and government can't survive without the ability to inflate the money supply. I mean, they can't. And once all these bridges are built and it's seamless to move back and forth, fiat's going to lose so much demand, and people are going to have a sound money option, not in the traditional sense, but in the digital blockchain sense. And that's where they're going to store their value, and they'll move in and out of fiat just to pay the government, and that's it. And that's going to create some conflict. And at the end of the day, the government's going to have to either drastically change, or what I would prefer, they just cease to exist.
Boom, blow them up.
But of course, that's probably decades away. So
Yeah, that won't happen anywhere in the near future.
If you enjoyed this video, see the description for a link.